In 2018, we made a video on Microsoft's Universal Windows platform, which we demonstrated to be the DRM stronger than Denuvo. You can watch that later if you haven't already. For now, here's a brief summary. We calculated the number of days it took to crack Denuvo protected titles and games exclusive to the Microsoft Store, and found Microsoft exclusives stayed uncracked far longer than most Denuvo protected titles. Additionally, only one scene group has released cracks for Microsoft's exclusives, while Denuvo has been cracked by 3 scene groups: Codex, Conspiracy and Steampunks. 4 if you include Skid Row. By all metrics, our video demonstrated UWP to be a stronger DRM than Denuvo. Since our numbers were indisputable, peasants use semantics to split hairs. UWP isn't a DRM, it's an API. Why can't it be both? It was clear we were referring to the platform Microsoft were pushing with the API, which includes the heavy-handed DRM we explored. In our defense, even Microsoft has struggled to put a name on their own abomination. They went from calling it the Windows Store to the Microsoft Store, and are now pushing games into the Xbox Beta, which is a terrible name for an application since it triggers confusion with the Xbox series of consoles. To preempt similar criticism going forward, we'll stop calling the DRM UWP, and instead use Microsoft and Xbox interchangeably. If it's good enough for Codex, it's good enough for us. Terminology aside, our old video holds up remarkably well 1 year later. The scene has yet to crack Forza Horizon 4, which we discounted for being a recent release at the time. A couple of independent hackers in the wider peer-to-peer community have taken a crack at Forza Horizon 4, though the quality of peer-to-peer cracks isn't always as reliable as scene releases, since scene groups hold scene cracks to high standards. However, the scene's reputation for reliability has taken a hit with the advent of the Microsoft Store, going by reports of incompatibility. Several pirates report Codex cracks of Forza Horizon 3 and Motorsport 7 do not work on newer versions of Windows 10 that Microsoft distributed after the Codex releases. This makes us wonder, did Microsoft patch the operating system to break the cracks? Either way, Microsoft's Xbox is the first DRM in the history of piracy that has managed to render a released cracked obsolete. Pirates have plenty of reasons to hate UWP, but that's not what this video is about. This video explores why the Xbox app is terrible for legitimate consumers, from the perspective of performance and usability. For one, it cannot be used on older Windows operating systems, which unfortunately includes a venerable Windows 7. Some might say, yeah, well, Windows 7 has reached the end of its life, it's obsolete. Yeah, but who made it obsolete? Microsoft. They are going to stop supporting Windows 7 with security updates in an effort to convince those still on the reliable old OS to make the jump to Windows 10. Even though the reason stragglers hesitate to update is because they fear Windows 10 spyware. Telemetry. Of course, this might not bother you if you've already installed Windows 10. Even if you meet the requirements for the Xbox Beta, you'll find it to be the worst launcher you've ever used. Let's begin with the most basic function a distribution platform must perform: downloading and installing a game. Even if you haven't used the Xbox app before, it will only take you a couple of seconds to notice the fact that this launcher is different, and not in a good way. You don't get to choose the folder you want to download and install the game in. You only get to pick the drive the game will be installed on. The Xbox app creates 4 folders in the root directory of the drive. The games are installed in the Windows Apps folder. I've no idea what the other folders do because I'm not allowed to open them. Windows does not allow you to open any of these folders by default. You have to dive into arcane settings menus to give yourself permission to even see what treasure lies inside. So what secrets do these folders conceal? Beats me. I can't decipher the code. While most of the folders appear to be the installation directories of the games you've downloaded, the biggest folder by far is MSI XVC. This is a mouthful to pronounce, so we'll just call it the mystery folder going forward. This directory contains files that occupy dozens of gigabytes and yet cannot be opened by any program we know of. Heck, even their names are indecipherable. What the hell do these files do? Are they even necessary? They're taking up over 100 gigabytes on my hard drive, and space is at a premium. Can I delete them? Or will I break something if I do? I'm far from the only person who has asked about this folder, and yet I could not find a response from Microsoft. The only explanation I found was in the FAQ section for Gears 5. PC players examining disk space may notice a folder named MSI XVC, which will appear similar in size to the Gears 5 install folder. This is a side effect of how the installation uses a file system feature called junctions. I'm not sure why Microsoft felt the need to reinvent how installation works because, well, it often doesn't work. Downloads will frequently run into errors, and if an update breaks your game, you'll have to uninstall and download the whole thing again. You cannot fix your installation as the Xbox app doesn't feature the option to verify your files. I wonder if the incomprehensible file structure is to blame, and I wonder if this affects performance. There were reports in 2016 that complained of Microsoft's encrypting file system hogging CPU resources and thereby causing stutters in games like Forza Horizon 3. We weren't in a position to test this at the time, but our last video did compare the performance of Prey, which uses Denuvo, to its port on the Xbox Game Pass, which does not use Denuvo. We found the Microsoft version loaded more quickly, but performance significantly worse with slower frame rates and longer frame times. This made us cautious if Prey was an isolated case, or if this difference in performance is present in other games common to Xbox and Steam. This was the catalyst behind the creation of this video. To avoid accusations of manipulating camera angles to force a result, we restricted our test to games that feature a benchmark tool which ensures an apple-to-apples comparison. The titles also present diverse combinations of DRMs to compare. For instance, Rise of the Tomb Raider is confirmed to be using Denuvo on its Steam and Xbox Game Pass, meaning our benchmark measures the difference in performance of the combination of Steam and Denuvo to the impact of Denuvo and Microsoft DRM. This also appears to be the case for Middle-earth: Shadow of War, going by its page on PC Gaming Wiki, though there's no source that confirms it uses Denuvo on the Xbox Game Pass. There is a similar lack of sources for Formula 1 2018. We used the leaked Denuvo-free executable from the previous test. Gears 5 does not use Denuvo on either, though it does use Arcsan and Easy Anti-Cheat, which, going by Codex NFOs, is standard practice for Microsoft, as they also apply it to their releases on their Xbox platform. Does our test compare the impact of Steam versus Xbox? Or does it test the impact of the combination of Arcsan and Easy Cheat with Xbox and Steam? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. We also wanted to test the Metro series. However, we hit a roadblock trying to run the benchmark tool on the Microsoft version. Windows could not access the specified file, even though we were staring it in the face. Windows did not give us permission to open the file and did not give us permission to edit its permissions either. This is because the benchmark is sequestered into an external executable and not integrated into the game's menus, which is also the case for Metro Last Light and Exodus. Microsoft's DRM breaks features of the game and doesn't let you fix their mistake. Do their restrictions also hurt performance? Let's begin with Formula 1 2018, which offers the most comprehensive benchmark tool in our testing suite. The tool features more than 21 tracks, each of which can be set to clear weather or heavy rain. Once the run is complete, the tool displays the minimum and average for frame rates and frame times. All tests were conducted with the same NVIDIA driver and all settings set to their maximum, since we weren't sure if the impact of Microsoft's DRM is limited to the CPU. The leaked EXE took 16 seconds to load the main menu on its first run and dropped to 14.5 seconds on subsequent runs. The Microsoft version took 24 seconds on its first startup, dropped to 22.7 seconds on its second, and rose to 32 seconds on its third. Moving on to performance, let's begin with Australia in clear weather. And these are the results for heavy rain. Moving on to Bahrain in clear weather, Bahrain in heavy rain. China in clear weather, China in heavy rain. Azerbaijan in clear weather, Azerbaijan in heavy rain. Next, Spain in clear weather, Spain in heavy rain. Monaco's next, clear weather and heavy rain. Moving on to Canada in clear weather, Canada in heavy rain. And next is France in clear weather and France in heavy rain. Moving on to Austria in clear weather and heavy rain. Britain's next, clear weather and Britain in heavy rain. Moving on to Germany in clear weather, Germany in heavy rain. Hungary's next, clear weather, Hungary in heavy rain. And now a look at Belgium in clear weather and Belgium in heavy rain. Italy, clear weather, Italy in heavy rain. Next, Singapore in clear weather, Singapore in heavy rain. Russia, clear weather, Russia in heavy rain. Japan in clear weather and Japan heavy rain. Moving on to USA clear weather, USA in heavy rain. Mexico is next, clear weather and Mexico in heavy rain. Brazil, clear weather and heavy rain. And finally, Abu Dhabi in clear weather, Abu Dhabi in heavy rain. Most tracks perform better on the leaked EXE, If we average the results of all tracks, the Xbox Game Pass took 39.6% longer to load the benchmark than the leaked EXE, which had a 6.4% lead in minimum FPS and 6.7% lead in average FPS. On the other hand, the Microsoft version had 6.9% higher average frame times and 5.4% higher maximum frame times. As there is no source that proves the Xbox version uses Denuvo, we'll let you decide what this test represented. Let's move on to Rise of the Tomb Raider, which has been confirmed to use Denuvo on both Steam and Xbox Game Pass. Steam and Denuvo took 19 seconds to load the main menu and 18 seconds to load the benchmark. Xbox and Denuvo took 40 seconds to load the main menu and 21 seconds to load the benchmark. We apologise for the lack of frame rate overlay. The Xbox Game Pass would crash the game while Fraps was active. Steam and Denuvo ran better on all environments, except Geothermal Valley, which had a higher minimum frame rate on the Xbox Game Pass. Our next test is Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Like all of our benchmarks, we maxed all settings, which includes downloading and installing the HD Textures pack. The Xbox Game Pass loaded the main menu in 40 seconds, which was faster than the Denuvo version, which took 49 seconds. The tables turn as we move on to performance. The Denuvo version averaged 86.6 frames with a minimum of 44.42 frames, while the Xbox Game Pass averaged 85.04 frames with a minimum of 9.7 frames. Shadow of War's frame times, the Denuvo EXE averaged 11.94 milliseconds with a maximum of 22.51 milliseconds, while the Xbox Game Pass averaged 12.23 milliseconds with a maximum of 102.89 milliseconds, which is 457.1% the peak frame time of the Denuvo version. Some may criticise our test for being GPU bound at 1440p. You'll like our next benchmark, Gears 5, since it features a few pretty unique metrics that measure CPU performance, even if the GPU is a bottleneck, as it was in our case since we maxed every setting we could. While the Xbox Game Pass was only marginally slower at the average frame rate, the average CPU frame times are interesting. The CPU's game frame rate measured 284.8 frames a second on the Steam version, 16.53% higher than the Xbox Game Pass, which clocked in at 244.4 frames. The render frame rate measured 210.8 frames per second on the Steam version, 13.33% higher than the Xbox Game Pass, which only delivered 186 frames a second. This could indicate a difference in performance if the GPU bottleneck is removed, and people playing Gears 5 many years from now might find the Steam version to have a noticeable lead in performance on hardware of the future. As it stands, the difference isn't quite as noticeable as some of our other tests. However, performance is just one of the many issues players will have to contend with if they sign up for Xbox Game Pass. Microsoft's platform lacks crucial features present in competing launchers, such as verifying files. Doesn't let you manage your storage, breaks features of the game such as benchmark utilities, and fails at fundamental functions it's supposed to be built for: downloading, installing, and launching games, to be precise. Say what you like about Denuvo and Epic. Heck, our videos certainly have. But they don't stop you from installing your game wherever you want. They don't make its folders inaccessible, and they don't break compatibility with external utilities and overlays that monitors hardware and performance. While it is heartening to see Microsoft bringing their games back to PC, it is disappointing to see they haven't learned from games for Windows Live. Despite the drawbacks, I still recommend getting the Xbox Game Pass while Microsoft offers 3 months for $1. Just make sure you disable recurring billing. The pass isn't worth its regular price. If you ever wanted to play Gears of War 4 Ultimate Edition or Forza Horizon 4, this is a cheap way to complete all of the campaigns without having to buy the games. Of course, you don't get to keep them. But on the bright side, you don't have to deal with the DRM bullshit once your subscription expires. Even if you want to keep the games, the $1 pass is still an efficient way to try the games you're interested in to check out if they're actually worth buying on other platforms. And that concludes our analysis of Microsoft's platform. If you'd like to watch more content like this, please subscribe, press the bell and select all. YouTube won't notify you of new uploads unless you select all. If you like this video, please press the like button and share it too, because YouTube won't. Several subscribers have reported that YouTube are screwing with their notifications, even when the bell button is enabled. So if that's true, just keep an eye out for our thumbnails. Help us, channel subscribers. You're our only hope.